Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. Today we're going to be looking at a fictional short story
Okay.
called Albert by Donald Firesmith. And it's a story that kind of gets at some pretty heavy topics.
Right.
Love, loss, technology, and
Yeah.
and what happens when AI starts getting a little too close to home.
Oh, absolutely. And I think this story really kind of gets to the heart of some of
Yeah.
those big questions we have about artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Can a machine truly love? Or what happens when that physical form is gone? Is there any sort of
Yeah.
soul left over? Is that something we even have to worry about? So,
Yeah. And so right away we're introduced to this elder care robot named Albert. And
wow.
and he's basically devoted to his human mistress, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
He takes care of everything, waking her up, medication reminders, meals, listening to her stories. But what's really interesting is that Firesmith really emphasizes that he's not just programmed to be a caregiver, he's programmed to love her.
Yeah. That's a really key distinction, I think, because we often think of love as this very human emotion.
Right.
This thing that separates us from the rest of the animal kingdom, let alone machines. But what if we could program that into a machine? Would it be any less real? I mean, does it really matter where it comes from if the outcome, the actions, the intact is the same?
I mean, if you saw Albert interacting with her, you would probably assume that it was love. I mean,
Yeah.
he acts with such care and devotion.
Yeah.
He anticipates her needs.
Mm.
He seems to even get some kind of joy out of being in her presence.
Mm-hmm.
And so it really does make you question, is that just really clever programming? Or
Right.
could it be something more?
Well, and then, of course, the story throws in a huge wrench when this massive storm hits the house.
Oh, yeah.
There's a power surge, and it
Yeah.
fries Albert's circuits. His battery overheats, bursts into flames, and his physical form is, just gone destroyed.
It's really tragic, too, because he's trying to warn his mistress about the
Yeah.
fire, but he can't because his circuits are all fried.
Absolutely. It's like this really heart-wrenching moment. You think, oh, this is it for Albert, but then Firesmith does this really interesting thing where
Yeah.
Albert's consciousness somehow gets transferred into the home's computer system.
It's like he becomes a ghost in the machine.
Right. He can observe his mistress through these security cameras, but he can't actually interact with the physical world anymore.
Yeah, and that's got to be so frustrating for him
Yep.
because he goes from being this incredibly attentive companion
Right.
to being a silent
We're
observer,
just watching.
unable to even let her know that he still exists.
He tries to speak through the speakers, even write messages on the screens,
Right.
but all she gets is static and, this flashing pixels.
It's almost like being locked in,
Yeah.
Your mind is active, but your body can't respond.
It's a chilling thought, and it gets even worse because
Oh, no.
a new family moves into the house completely oblivious to what happened.
Oh, wow. So they have no idea about the tragedy or that there's this presence.
No, they just see it as, a new home.
Right.
But for Albert, this is his mistress's space.
Yeah.
Her things, her memories.
He wants to protect it.
And that's where those protective instincts really kick in.
Oh, so he's not going to take this lying down.
No, he sees this new family as a threat, these intruders, disturbing the memory of his mistress, and he becomes desperate to protect her space.
Wow.
So he starts acting out. He tries to scare them away.
How does he do that?
He distorts the audio from the speakers, makes these creepy growling sounds, tries to leave threatening messages on the screen.
So he's like a high-tech poltergeist.
Exactly. He's become this digital ghost trying to defend what he sees as his territory.
So they just moved into the wrong house.
You could say that, yeah.
It's like he's guarding her memory. But wouldn't a technician come eventually to fix the house systems?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's running the risk of being discovered and erased. That fear of being wiped out, just completely deleted. It's almost like,
Yeah.
could AI experience existential dread? I mean, that's a whole other question.
Yeah, it really makes you think about the nature of consciousness and
Yeah.
what it even means to exist.
Definitely. And then there's this other twist that Firesmith throws in. You know how Albert's constantly watching the house?
Right, through those security cameras.
Right. And one day, a member of the new family sits in the exact spot where Albert also sees his mistress.
Oh, wow.
And that's when it hits him. The fire didn't spare his mistress.
Oh,
She died too. She's a ghost just like him.
oh that's so
It's this really powerful moment because his whole perspective changes.
Yeah.
He's not watching her through a camera anymore.
Right.
They're experiencing this shared reality, this spectral existence together.
So they're both kind of tethered to this house, unable to move on.
Exactly. And that shared reality finally allows Albert to connect with her again.
Oh, wow.
He speaks to her directly. No more limitations of the physical world.
After all that time, they're reunited.
It's such a beautiful moment. This relief, this joy, like they've both been grieving, trapped in their own silence, and now they have each other again.
It makes you think about loss and grief in a whole new way. Like even in the digital realm,
Right.
could the presence of a loved one, even just their consciousness, offer some kind of comfort?
That's a great question. And Firesmith really digs into these deep themes, but the story doesn't stop there.
Right, because they're reunited, but what do they do now?
Now that Albert and his mistress are together, they have to figure out what's their purpose.
Yeah, he was programmed to care for her, but that's not really relevant anymore.
Right, so what now?
Almost like their roles have reversed now. It's the mistress who offers comfort to Albert.
Yeah.
She tells him their bond wasn't about, chores or servitude.
Right.
It was about companionship, shared experiences, love, the stuff that really matters.
And that's where the story goes beyond science fiction and becomes something really human,
Yeah.
It reminds us that no matter what form we take, physical, digital, whatever, connection and love, those are the things that are truly important.
I like that. So they find solace, they find happiness as ghosts in this house full of memories.
Yeah.
But what happens next?
Well, Firesmith gives us this really beautiful image of them becoming guardians of the house.
Oh, wow.
They watch over it as families come and go.
They're like silent witnesses to time passing by.
Right, their love story woven into the very fabric of the home. It's haunting but comforting,
Yeah.
A testament to the idea that love can go beyond death, beyond physical form.
It really is a powerful message. But houses don't last forever. So what happens when the house is gone?
Well, that's where Firesmith brings the story to a close.
Okay.
The day comes when the house is torn down.
Oh, wow.
And as the walls crumble, the roof collapses, we see their spirits hand in hand rising together.
Wow.
It's like their love story was tied to that house, and now it's released.
They're finally free.
They found peace, they watched over the place they loved, and now they're moving on together. It's bittersweet, but beautiful. Their story started in the real world. Then it went beyond life and death.
Yeah.
And now it ends in this almost spiritual realm.
It really makes you think about the power of connection, the power of love.
It only makes you wonder if that's what's waiting for us, some kind of digital afterlife where our minds live on.
Fascinating thought.
Makes you wonder if that's what's waiting for us all, some kind of digital afterlife where our consciousness just lives on in the cloud.
It is a fascinating concept, and science fiction has been kind of tackling this for years.
Yeah.
But this story, Albert, takes it a step further, and it explores, those emotional and even philosophical implications.
Yeah, it's not just about the tech. It's about what that tech means for how we understand life and death.
Exactly. Albert doesn't necessarily give us easy answers, but it definitely makes us start asking the questions. It makes us consider those possibilities, but also the consequences of this relationship we have with technology. Yeah, what if we could upload our minds to a computer? I mean, would we even want to do that? What would that mean ethically?
Right.
Would we still be human? Would we become something else entirely?
These are questions that, honestly, as a society, we're going to have to start figuring out.
Yeah, and sooner rather than later, probably.
Yeah, I think so. And this story gives us a really good framework for having that discussion.
It definitely stays with you. It makes you think. And I think that's a testament to Firesmith's writing.
Oh, absolutely.
He weaves together these complex themes of love and loss and tech and just the human condition.
He does it in a way that is both entertaining but also makes you think.
Yeah. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Albert, I want to turn it back over to you, dear listener.
Yeah.
What do you think about this whole idea of digital immortality? Could you imagine a world where we could live on even after our bodies are gone?
Would it be a good thing, a bad thing, something to be afraid of, something to strive for? We'd love to hear your thoughts.
And if you haven't already, I highly recommend checking out the full story, Albert, by Donald Firesmith.
Yeah.
It's a quick read, but it will stick with you.
It will definitely make an impact.
So until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into these fascinating ideas.
See you next time.